Now, last week, a lot of noise, and it kind of shook the world, and everybody was blaming Sandra Bullock, like she really had something to do with this because she was starring in the movie. I'm talking about Michael Oher and the Blind Side, and all the hoopla that came around this, and it's kind of confusing because didn't we think this was supposed to be a good story?
It was supposed to be a good story. Mm-hmm. And to hear, Michael Oher come out now and say something totally different, I thought was interesting.
So did we or didn't we know? And I'm trying to remember this because, again, for some strange reason, it seems like every story we talk about, I'm having the Mandela effect on it right now. And I'm like, I thought he was fine with this thing. But now I'm hearing like, no, I think we always knew that he was not happy with this when he was playing with the Baltimore Ravens winning Super Bowls, that he didn't like the fact that the story was out.
Yeah, and I do remember him not being a fan, and I thought it was just because players were giving him a hard time, just picking on, cracking jokes or whatever.
Was it like growing up with Sandra Bullock?
So I just thought maybe that was what it boiled down to, but apparently there's a whole lot more to the story, and I think that's the unique thing about these type of shows that are based on a true story. Mm-hmm. Certain things are going to be changed and sensationalized for cameras. Because he was not this poor kid living on the streets that the Tuohys found walking down the street and said, "You look like you can play football. Get in the car. You can come stay with us." Come Hey, you look like a big, strong black buck. Come on in here. Let's teach you about the game of football. He was already a phenomenal athlete in football. So the way the movie went is totally different than what really happened.
But that's why it says based on a true story. Writers, do your thing.
Actually, I think it said inspired by a true story. Because if it's based on a true story, then I think you have to kind of follow a little bit more of what really happened.
No, it's the same thing.
Inspired by a true story could be like, this inspired us to create this bullshit version that's going to sell.
Or this bullshit version is based
on some true events and a lot of fake events.
But, so the thing about this, though, is as we see this thing blew up and finding out that, he was never paid for the lie. And I'm like, well, what's the lie? First of all, I'm going through this whole thing about the lie, right? And the lie comes to find out is that he wasn't adopted. He'd actually signed a conservatorship. And come to find out, he's like, well, they tricked me so they can use my image and likeness. And who knew that the Tuohys were that far advanced and they had taken a trip to the future and knew that NILs were going to be a big deal.
So that's the thing. So they did the conservatorship because he was too old to be adopted. And it had to do with like medical insurance and stuff like that. Right. But he knew that. And even in his own autobiography, he knew that he was under a conservatorship.
Right.
So where's the issue? Because I still don't understand what happened. Because if you really try to say that under the conservatorship, he couldn't make any of his own financial decisions. Well, then what happened to his NFL contract? Did the Tuohys make money off of that?
No, but he's an adult at that point. Think about it. This is
exactly.
The story is about him as a kid, not as an adult, right? And I think that's where this is coming into play, right? Am I wrong on this? Because at the end of the day, as a kid, he was in school. He was a kid. He wasn't an adult. He may have been big as an adult, but he wasn't an adult, and hence why the conservatorship was needed just to be able to make those decisions, like you just said. But at the same time, I think his thing is, well, where's my money off of this? Because everybody made money. And I didn't, right?
Yeah. Well, I still don't think they took advantage of him because if it wasn't for them, he wouldn't have gone to Ole Miss.
You sound like the alumni. Author of the book. You sound like
they were the alumni. They did help him, so you can't make it sound like they just took advantage of him. Mm-hmm. Now, the book, I'm glad you brought that up. He did make money on the book. Mm-hmm. He didn't make any money off the movie, is what he's claiming.
Well, the movie made $300 million. That would make anybody a little like, where's my 2.5%?
Yeah, but it also make me want to ask that question back in 2009. I'd be asking those questions back in 2009. Mm-hmm. It's been 14 years later, what has happened that now you're going to bring this up? But he's claiming that the family each had $250,000 and 2.5%
of the 300 million
future profits of the movie.
Right.
And he's saying he didn't get anything from that.
And you're not believing him.
It's not that I don't believe him. My question is this: when the movie came out, you were an adult, you were an 18, you were in the NFL, you have lawyers. You could have easily worked and looked at this contract and made sure that you're going to make something off of this. You didn't do your due diligence as an adult. So, and I don't think the Tuohys purposefully tried to hose him out of money. I personally don't think they did, because they didn't need it. I mean, they already had hundreds of millions of dollars before this movie came out.
Okay. Now, I heard you saying that, right? And I don't remember that being the story, but you did your research, you found that piece, right? Here's the thing that I have an issue with. Because S.J. Tuohy, the son, Sean Jr., right? When this news broke, Barstool Sports had him on. Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports had him on, and he was saying, "Hey, if I had $2 million in the bank, it would be in my email signature. Signed S.J. Tuohy, multimillionaire." He said his friends called him and were like, "Hey, you've been holding out on us. Why'd you give me this crappy tie for my birthday when you have $2 million?" If they have these hundreds of millions of dollars, don't tell me the kids didn't get any of that money. The parents have the kids just scrounging and they're keeping this hundreds of millions of dollars. But here's why I say this sounds a little funny. As you were talking just now, that 2.5%, right? That 2.5% of the $300 million is 7.5 plus that 250 that was supposedly said. See, here comes this 8 million that if it was divided by the other 4 members of the family, there's the 2 million that this man brought up. Who said $2 million and why did this come up? And because of what you said, that number now sticks out even more.
It could be. But again, Michael, you were a grown-ass man when this movie was coming out. Why didn't your lawyers look into this? Now, I don't understand. Like, there's something that's what makes this thing smell funny to me. Yeah. That it's been this many years, 14 years since this movie came out. And now you're bringing this up. Why?
Word is, years ago, he told them, pay me this amount. And I've seen different amounts. I've seen 5 million. I've seen 15 million. Pay me this, or I'm going to go public and let everybody know this, right? And that seems kind of fishy in that space. Even the author of the book, when he goes, yeah, well, the payments were there for everybody, including him, and he just stopped taking them, so they put it into a trust for his son. This is messy, and this is really, really messy, and it gets down to my question to you in a lot of this, and what you're asking, is who got in his ear? You saying what changed? I'm saying who got in his ear? Who said something to Michael Oher to make him say this? Or what else happened that triggered him? Because it may not even be about this. It may be something else that triggered him to say, okay, I let this slide for 14 years. Now I'm going to call you out because of this. Because this is not fair. And not because this was the issue, but something else. The straw that broke the camel's back. What is that straw?
Right. That's what I'm saying. It has to be something that happened, because I just don't understand why it's taking this long. And if the family did get all that money, it's still not a lot compared to the money they already have. So like, that's the thing. It's not like they blew up because of this movie. They already had money. And so I just don't see what the issue is for Michael. If you didn't like it, if you didn't want the book to be made into a movie, speak up and say something. So maybe this all could be a big scam for him to he has a new book coming out. So maybe this helps get him some more book sales. But I do think that as society, this is one of those stories that you got to wait, listen to more detail besides the first thing that came out. So when the first news first dropped, everybody started going down the path of white people taking advantage of black people. And I was just like, no, this doesn't make sense. Right. That's too easy to try to just go down that path or try to paint it with the broad brush. And so I'm glad that we've kind of waited this amount of time to hear more of the story, to get more details before we actually dropped it.
So, and the question I have in this then, if they have all this money that they made, are the mom and dad just that damn stingy that actually what SJ is saying is, Mom, Dad, I should be signing my emails with multimillionaire, but you won't give me any damn money if they have all this money? Because again, he's saying they don't have it. Him, as in him and his sister, don't have the money.
He's saying that they don't have millions of dollars from the movie. He didn't say they don't have millions of dollars. He said...
It's what you say, not what you...
Exactly. He didn't say he don't have any money. He said we don't have millions of dollars from this movie. That's what he's saying. So don't get it twisted. It ain't like kids working at McDonald's at 38 years old on fries trying to make ends meet. I mean, he's doing well. But he's just saying that he didn't make millions off of this movie.
Yeah, because apparently they own 115 fast food franchises. Jesus.
Yeah.
What they need money off the book for in the first place?
Well, you got to make your money because that's how, when you have money, that's how you keep having money.
True.
It's like LeBron be like, no, I'll do it for free. I got enough. I'm good.
Nah, what? No, don't. Please. No more millions for me. That's okay.
Yeah, no. I have enough. I'm good. I'm set.